Hey everyone, and welcome back to Girls in the Paddock. It's just me today. I had the recent privilege of interviewing Chloe Chambers, and I am very excited to show you guys, so I hope you enjoy. Well, firstly, I want to say congratulations for the podium over the weekend. You had such a great race. Um, and I was just curious, can you tell me a bit more about your journey into motorsport, how you got to where you are, what it's been like?
Yeah, so I grew up watching Formula One on TV with my dad. Um, and that's kind of where like my initial interest in motorsport started. Uh, and then my dad's always been a big fan of motorsport and cars and that kind of stuff. So when I was younger, I got exposed to it. And then one time I asked my parents if I could drive. And my dad, being a big fan of motorsports, knew that karting was the first step into getting into motorsport. So he took me to a kart track, and I did my first lesson to kind of dip my toes into the water. And then, yeah, it kind of went from there. I raced karts all the way through 2020. In 2021, I raced in F4 in the United States. In 2022, I raced in W Series. And then in 2023, I did Formula Regional Oceania, which is the Formula Regional Championship in New Zealand. And I raced in Porsche Sprint Challenge North America. And then this year, doing F1 Academy.
Wow, you've really dipped your toe in lots of different waters there. Has it been difficult to adapt to different series or?
Well, I mean, the biggest difference is probably going from open wheel cars to sports cars. So doing all of the Porsche stuff has been a little different from like F1 Academy. But I mean, I think that they're different enough where you can kind of like switch your mindset almost during
Mhm.
the race weekends and kind of like take on that different driving style that you need for each type of car.
Mm. And what challenges did you find kind of adapting to these series and also just beginning your career?
Yeah, I think probably the toughest part is just getting used to the feeling of the car and the differences between those because in a sports car, it's much softer, you have a lot more roll. Uh the kind of like everything is different. You have power steering, so you don't have the same kind of feeling through the steering wheel. Everything feels different in a sports car. And then an open wheel car, of course, is the opposite, where everything is a lot more stiff and uh no power steering, of course. So you get that feedback through the wheel a lot more.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, I think both of them are fun in their own ways. So I don't think I could actually I don't think I could actually choose one over the other of what I favor. Uh, but yeah, I enjoy driving both of them.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel like you faced any particular challenges in either of these series as a woman, or do you just feel like it's been fine?
Well, in F1 Academy, it's an all-female series, so no, I haven't felt anything with being a woman there. In all of the Porsche stuff that I've done, they've been super supportive. They have their female driver development program, which I was a part of last year. Yokohama, who is the tire supplier for the series, has their female initiatives as well. And then, yeah, I mean, in open wheel cars, I've raced in two all-female series, so of course those ones
Mm.
they don't really have any issues. Um, and then when I raced in New Zealand, they love when women come and race in their series. And I actually ended up becoming the first female pole sitter and race winner in that series history. So
Wow.
yeah, I haven't had any problems in any of them really.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it's been a really great start for you and a really great overall career so far. Um, um, so, what do you think that your most memorable race that you've competed in? Is it the one where you're on pole? Do you feel like it was a different one?
Yeah, I think my most memorable race is probably when I won in New Zealand because it was just such a big accomplishment worldwide, not just within New Zealand.
Fair enough. And how do you handle all of this pressure of competing at such high speeds?
I mean, well, most of us have grown up doing it since we were young. So, kind of naturally, as you progress up the ladder, you kind of get used to it. And it doesn't really become any kind of like big drama or anything like that. It's kind of just something that you're used to.
Do you have any particular race day preparations to get yourself really in that mindset?
I don't really actually do too much. Like, it, I don't really go off and do too much like special things before the race or anything. I I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of like the same before the race, after the race, whenever.
Yeah, fair enough. And like, what do you think the most, I guess, challenging part of racing or motorsports in general is for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of, like the most challenging part is wanting to continue to do the amount of work that you need to do off the track because of course I love to drive and I love to race, but driving is only a small fraction of what you actually do. So you have a lot of things on the business side that you have to do. There's a lot of physical training that you have to do. There's just a lot of kind of things that you maybe wouldn't enjoy so much. And I think kind of having the will to like want to keep doing that so that you can go racing has been the hardest part.
Do you find it difficult when you're kind of away from the track to really focus on the training regimen and the business side of things?
Yes, I think that's probably the most difficult part of it, but I think at this point I've been racing for 11 years now, so I sure hope that I have now gotten used to having to do that part of it.
Fair enough. And do you feel like being a part of F1 Academy now has benefited your career, or do you feel that it's very different to how W Series was?
I think for sure being with F1 Academy has benefited my career so far. I mean, we're only two races in, so we still have a lot of time left in this season, but yeah, I think with having the support of F1 and the F1 teams, that's been really great. And F1 Academy has been making a big push for promoting us on social media. There's the Netflix documentary that was announced earlier in the week. So that will be a big thing as well. So yeah, I think F1 Academy for sure has benefited my career. I mean, it doesn't really depend. I mean, it's regardless of whatever results you have,
Mm,
you still get all of the benefits of all the media and all of the just kind of eyes that are on you and the series.
for sure. And how do you feel like F1 Academy differs or stands out from what W Series was?
Well, F1 Academy has direct support from F1 and the F1 teams. W Series was kind of its own series, um, owned by different management, all of that. So yeah, in F1 Academy, you're much closer to the F1 world themselves. So you have those kind of connections.
Yeah, and I would assume you feel like it's given you more sponsorship opportunities, opening more doors for you.
Yeah, I think it will end up opening some more doors for me. As of right now, because we're so early in the season, there's not much to show for it yet. I This is my first year in the season, so I have nothing to say about last year or anything, but I think for sure this series will be able to open some doors.
Absolutely amazing. And my last question is just, do you have any advice for people wanting to get into motorsport?
Yeah, I mean, I would say this advice will go for anybody who wants to get into anything, actually, because motorsport is like any other sport when you think about it. You still have to put in the work. You still have to, take everything as a learning experience. Like you end up actually learning the most from the bad times than you do from the major successes. And I think that's something that I had to learn when I was young. And it's something that still applies today and applies to pretty much everyone in anything. Um, and yeah, I mean, kind of being able to build the right team around you is very important in motorsports, whether that's management, sponsors, even the fans are super important. Um, and yeah, enjoy it.
Well, that is all of my questions for you. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I've really appreciated it.
Yes, thank you.